Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. The event cycle in War Thunder seems to be speeding up as we are getting yet another event that will be coming in just a few days. And in this video, I will be going over everything that you need to know about it, as well as the vehicle that will be the reward. So this next event will be the Normandy 44 event, and it will be running from June 5th at 11 GMT through June 17th at 11 GMT. And the main reward will be the T86 Premium, yeah that's right, Premium Light Tank, which is pretty cool and will be for the US at rank 3. Now you might be wondering to yourself, what is the T86? Well, this is actually one of the more obscure vehicles I think that we will have in game, at least from World War II. This is basically an M18 that has been converted for amphibious warfare. So basically, it's a floatable M18. It'll have the same turret for the most part. It'll have the same cannon. And actually, the hull itself isn't insanely different. It's very different insofar as how it looks, but they actually took an M18 hull and they basically just molded it. It's like a really weird version of the hull, and they made it amphibious, so I guess it is extremely modified hull, but even still, it has a lot less armor. It weighs around 2.7 tons more, if I'm not mistaken, and it also has a slightly weaker engine. So this thing will likely be a bit lower of a BR than what we currently see with the M18. I think the M18 in ground RB is something like 6.0 BR. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being 5.7 or 5.3. Now, that said, it will still be just about as mobile. So it'll have, I think, like 74 kilometer per hour top speed, which is pretty crazy considering that it has a weaker engine. It's got a pretty different hull, and it just weighs a bit more as well. So the fact that it's only a little bit slower insofar as top speed is concerned is kind of surprising, but it will likely be noticeably slower insofar as acceleration is concerned. I think that's really where the main mobility difference is going to be. It's probably going to have a lower average speed by a pretty substantial amount, so it'll still be quick, but it won't be nearly as fast as it had been, with the standard M18. Otherwise, and they don't really go into too much detail here, unfortunately, but from what I had read, this vehicle was supposed to have a vertical stabilizer, which basically means that it will work up to, I think typically the American stabilizers are up to like 20-ish kilometers per hour, so that'll be pretty interesting. Being that this has a vertical stabilizer, assuming that comes to game, that will make this a very interesting vehicle, which kind of, in some ways, I feel like that vertical stabilizer is going to keep it from being a much lower BR than what it would otherwise be. So we'll have to wait and see, and if I haven't already mentioned it, apparently the hull is supposed to only have around 7 millimeters of armor pretty much everywhere. So it's going to be a very, very lightly armored vehicle, even more so than the M18 standard, which is just completely crazy. Otherwise, that being said, this will also have some different decals and rewards. I'm really actually excited about the Johnson machine gun decoration. That's a really, really cool machine gun. It's something that, kind of like the T86, I guess, wasn't really ever discussed. I think the Johnson machine gun is much more well known than the T86, but even still, this is not nearly as well known as other things like the M2HB, for example, and the M1 Garand again. But that being said, now insofar as how you can get this reward, the rewards for this event, now you have to play this game in ground battle, so it could be AB, RB, SB, and you have to get 35,000 mission points every 2 days. Now, I'm not going to go over exactly what you need to do and the best ways to do it, because I've done that probably well over a dozen times throughout my videos. But basically, the higher the rank you play, and if you play RB and sim battles, you typically get a higher score multiplier, which means that you should be able to complete this event even quicker, and you only have 2 days to get each task star, or each stage complete. So basically, stage 1, you only have from the 7th to the 9th, or from the 5th to the 7th rather, then from the 7th to the 9th you have stage 2, so on and so forth, and that's how you do it. And then of course you can get yourself coupons via Golden Eagles. You can get discounts for the Golden Eagles at 30,000 and 33,500 mission points, in which they cost fewer Golden Eagles, which is pretty cool. And if you want to sell this on the marketplace, you can go ahead and sell it only if you get 500,000 mission points in ground RB throughout the entirety of the length of this event. So basically your combined mission score will go towards this upgrade for coupon, which will allow you to sell it on the marketplace. Now, insofar as how good this vehicle is going to be, I think it'll actually be pretty good. I really like the M18. Like, I really like the M18. I think a lot of people do, and I feel like this vehicle will be a very interesting modification on it. It's going to be about as different from an M18 as you can get, while still basically kind of being an M18 in many ways. So we'll have to see how this thing does. Plus, it's amphibious, which means that maybe you control people every now and again. But that said, thanks so much for watching. If you don't mind, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing. Let me know what you guys think about the T86 in the comments below. But either way, thanks again. I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.